Welcome to the Kleinman Center for Energy Policy at the University of Pennsylvania, where during normal times we like to gather for lectures and events like today's Carnot Prize. As we all know, gathering has been turned upside down this past year. With a location and meeting space as beautiful as the historic Fisher Fine Arts Building, you can see why we prefer meeting in person. We especially miss having you here today for our signature event, the Carnot Prize, when we typically come together for a full day of celebration. Each year, we recognize distinguished leaders in energy policy, such as these past recipients. In 2020, we hit pause on our Carnot celebration, but we are pleased to hang another banner for our 2021 recipient, Sheila Oparaocha. This year's ceremony demonstrates the silver lining of remote events, the ability to connect globally. Today, Sheila will receive her award in Zambia, saving herself and the climate more than 15,000 miles of air travel. And while our chairs in the Energy Forum remain empty, we fill a much bigger forum today, with the greater Penn community, as well as Sheila's friends, family, and colleagues from around the world. So thank you for joining us here today. Welcome. We gather today to pay tribute to Sheila Oparaocha, International Coordinator and Program Manager for ENERGIA. As many of you already know, and as the rest of you will soon learn, Sheila is empowering women, advancing energy policy through her work at ENERGIA. And as is so often the case with Carnot Prize winners and the celebration for them, she's accompanied today by many members of her family, including her beautiful mother, who is sitting beside her and who you will see soon. We'll have much to say about our honoree, but we begin by letting the work speak for itself with this short video.
Energy access is not just turning a light on in the dark. Though that's important, it's also clean cooking technology, clean accessible water sources, and technologies that bring global information to your fingertips. All of these tools make it easier for people to run businesses and earn more income for their families. In developing countries, men are more likely than women to have access to modern energy sources, but women are the main users of their household's energy. We have to think creatively about other solutions to bring modern energy to the 1.2 billion people who lack electricity globally and the 2.7 billion people living without access to clean cooking technology. ENERGIA focuses on fixing this disparity by engaging women entrepreneurs and local networks of women to bring modern energy to developing communities for use in their homes, businesses, schools, and health clinics. At the same time, ENERGIA works to ensure that gender is a part of the policy-making conversation nationally and globally to help support women's entrepreneurship in the energy sector. By empowering female entrepreneurs to bring modern energy to their communities, ENERGIA and its partners help elevate the status of women in their communities. As they bring light and change, they often become local leaders, helping to make decisions to improve everyone's lives further. So you see, bringing women into the energy access conversation at all levels is essential to improving the lives of families and communities around the globe.
The Carnot Prize is named for a young veteran of Napoleon's army, who, in the decade following Waterloo, concluded that Britain's defeat of France was largely a consequence of the power of the steam engine to transform British productivity. At the age of 27, Sadi Carnot wrote his only book, The Reflections of the Motive Power of Fire. He wrote the book in 1824. And Carnot wrote the first modern description of entropy, which 30 years later, Lord Kelvin would formalize into what we now know today as the second law of thermodynamics. But in addition to his great insights into physics, Carnot had an appreciation for and wrote about the power of energy to revolutionize human affairs. This is why we name our prize for distinguished contributions to energy policy, for Saadi Carnot. This year, we honor a leader whose work exemplifies Carnot's appreciation of the social power of energy. Sheila Oparaocha sees the reciprocity between women's empowerment and the clean energy transition. On the one hand, women bear the brunt of energy poverty and of pollution, which tragically constrict their prospects both in the home and at the workplace. On the other hand, the energy transition depends on millions of everyday decisions and practices that women often have little control over. In short, the energy transition empowers women, and empowered women accelerate the energy transition. Carnot would be proud to honor our recipient today. It's now my honor to introduce the Dean of the Stuart Weitzman School of Design and Paley Professor, Fritz Steiner. We exist because of the generous philanthropy of Scott and Wendy Kleinman, and more on that later. But we would never be able to steward that philanthropy so well without the leadership of Dean Steiner. He has been and remains a tireless advocate for and gifted advisor to the Kleinman Center, for which we are so grateful. Fritz.
Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm grateful to be with you today as we honor the remarkable Sheila Oparaocha. It's really inspiring to hear the amazing impact that Sheila has had and what an impression she's had on the Penn community. As many of you know, and as Mark just mentioned, the Kleinman Center was established through the incredible generosity of Scott and Wendy Kleinman. Scott is a graduate of both the Penn School of Arts and Sciences and our Wharton School. Apart from his visionary philanthropy in creating and supporting the center, Scott also serves on the Weitzman Board of Advisors, and we are immensely grateful for his guidance and leadership. The Kleinman Center was founded on the theory that a school of design like ours is an ideal place to house a research center on energy policy. And the last 7 years have proven this right. The design professions have long been integral to our energy systems, and they are producing groundbreaking new materials that our faculty and students are developing as tools for reshaping our buildings, our cities, and our landscapes in ways to empower communities around the world to achieve a more sustainable and a more equitable future. This year, the center has received an extraordinary commitment from the university to support the recruitment of additional distinguished energy policy scholars to join our faculty. At the Kleinman Center and its other centers and schools, Penn is building a community of scholars and students in energy science, technology, and policy dedicated to addressing the defining challenges of this century. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of the Weitzman School of Design, I salute the Weitzman Center for awarding the 2021 Carnot Prize to such a deserving recipient and individuals whose contribution to energy policy and justice are extraordinary on so many levels.
Thank you, Fritz. Sheila, your work means so much to so many at Penn. Here's what a few faculty and students have to say about your work and the impact it has on their work.
Hello, my name is Erin Kelly, and I'm an undergraduate fellow in the Climate and Energy Policy Seminar at the Kleinman Center. And I am wanting to say congratulations to Miss Sheila Oparaocha on receiving this year's Carnot Prize. Her work, particularly at ENERGIA and just on the intersection of access to clean energy and gender equality, is an incredibly vital puzzle piece to achieving the UN sustainability goals and the global energy transition.
Hi, I'm Brandon, and I'm an undergraduate at Penn. I'm interested in energy policy, development, and environmental justice. This year, I've also had the opportunity to work on a project with Penn International Impact Consulting, the UN Environment Program, and supported by the Kleinman Center. Our project focuses in part on the role of gender inclusion and the uptake of electric mobility solutions in East Africa. And our research would not be possible without the foundational work that scholars, activists, and policymakers like you have done in the fields of gender inclusion and energy access.
Hello, Sheila. My name is Gautam, and I'm a second-year graduate engineering student at Penn. My work thus far has ranged from technology like batteries to a more recent policy digest looking at innovative financing mechanisms for mini-grids in Africa. As I was thinking through my mini-grid project, one key insight that jumped out to me was the larger disconnect between energy developers and local communities. It seems to be sort of an understated reason for project failure. This is where your idea on framing gender-responsive policy was super interesting, and your work in Kenya to fulfill their vision of 2030 was really fascinating.
My name is Susanna Burkauer, and my research studies environmental economics in low-income countries. Almost half the world's population still uses traditional cooking methods for their daily meals. And the World Health Organization says that this is a big reason why respiratory infections are still a leading cause of death in low-income countries.
Hello, my name is Sergey Nitesin, and I'm a professor at the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania. With the support of ENERGIA grant, I worked with a group of researchers from all over the world to understand why consumers in poor developing economies continue to rely on kerosene for their lighting needs. Understanding why poor people continue to prefer one technology over another, even when the other technology is more advanced, is crucial for designing effective policies and implementing sustainable business models.
Hi, my name is Akira Drake Rodriguez, and I'm a faculty member here at the Weitzman School in the Department of City and Regional Planning. I'm really excited to support this year's Carnot Prize winner, Sheila Oparaocha, and her wonderful work working with women and people who definitely need access to better and safer energy, more sustainable economic solutions, and better self-determination and empowerment. I see a lot of connections between my own research and the work that Sheila does in these communities, particularly around connecting issues around social and physical infrastructure as a means of creating more resilient and sustainable communities.
So I just want to say thank you, Ms. Oparaocha, for combating gender issues that permeate the energy sector for the last 20 years, and then also now as we enter such a critical decade for the planet. You are a prime example of why I want to continue working in the energy industry after I leave Penn, and there's just so much work to be done in terms of creating equitable access and distribution of clean energy solutions. So congratulations again, Ms. Oparaocha, and thank you for all you've done.
Your work with ENERGIA provides an inspiring example of the importance, but also the power of gender inclusion in energy access.
Sheila's work and work of entire ENERGIA provide a very, very important contribution to our understanding of energy adoption in Africa and in the developing world in general.
I'm really excited to see how ENERGIA continues to work with different governments and stakeholders to frame innovative gender-inclusive energy policies and also work on their implementation and execution.
It's people like Sheila and organizations like ENERGIA and their partner organizations that remind us how important it is to include women and children in our energy transition. And as we adopt more climate-friendly technologies, how important it is to ensure that women and children are justly included in that transition.
Congratulations again, Sheila, and we're really excited to have you as this year's 2021 Carnot Prize winner.
So much inspiration, so much potential collaboration. It's really, my colleagues know I'm a crier. One of the advantages of being so far away from the camera is there's no front row that can see my eyes welling up. Thank you, Sheila, and thank you all my colleagues and students for those wonderful tributes. I think this might be a nice moment to announce that because of the inspiration and because of the reaction and feedback we've had from this year's Carnot Prize winner, we will be inaugurating next summer the second of our Carnot inspired student fellowships. For several years now, we've run one called the Kleinman Bureau Fellowship with the International Energy Agency in Paris, which has attracted extraordinary students in the work of the IEA. We today are very pleased to announce that we'll be inaugurating a Kleinman Oparaocha Fellowship next year, starting for next year and continuing in perpetuity, both in her honor and to provide extraordinary experiences for Penn students at ENERGIA, both at their headquarters in The Hague and throughout Africa. So I think it's probably going to be a very hot ticket for years to come for Penn students. So it is now my honor to introduce Penn's Chief Academic Officer, Provost Wendell Pritchett. Wendell is also a personal friend, and we have shared many foxholes together over the years. In addition to a global scholarly reputation, he has also long served as Philadelphia's go-to guy for the most intractable, daunting challenges that face the city. And for decades, mayors have called on him to assist with those tasks, all of which pale in comparison to being an Ivy League provost. Wendell, thank you for your time today in presenting on behalf of the University of Pennsylvania the formal incantation, as we like to call it, of the award to Sheila.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Provost and on Penn's behalf, it's my pleasure to present this year's Carnot Prize, the university's highest honor in energy policy. Today, with hope and some nervous anticipation, we're watching the rollout of President Biden's long-awaited infrastructure and sustainable energy plan. It's still very green in the sense of being new, but it's a major step forward. Yet the United States, while a large carbon emitter, is just one country among many, and fossil fuels remain the dominant source of energy worldwide. I cannot imagine an honoree who better represents the global importance of sustainable energy, and in particular, the crucial role women play as energetic decision makers in the developing world. For 2 decades, Sheila Oparaocha has worked to create a just and efficient transition to clean and sustainable energy in places that lie, in her words, beyond the tarred road. In these rural areas in developing nations, small businesses and family farms are often run by women. As international coordinator and program manager at ENERGIA, Mrs. Oparaocha oversees funding and technical support for African organizations working with women-led micro and small clean energy businesses. As she's noted, in these countries, it is women who typically make household decisions about fuel for cooking and energy for lighting. Women are also most involved in the community local market, she says. They are the most suitable distributors of sustainable cooking stoves or portable solar panels. Ms. Oparaocha has been a forceful advocate in raising awareness of the economic and social impact of promoting women in the energy space. Through training in finance, business development, partnerships, marketing, and working with the United Nations, she and ENERGIA are leading the way to a clean energy future in the developing world. In recognition of these distinguished contributions to energy policy, it is my honor to present on behalf of the University of Pennsylvania the Carnot Prize to Sheila Oparaocha. Congratulations.
Thank you, Wendell. And now, through the miracle of DHL, we'll
Thank you. Here it is. I'm honored and humbled to receive the Carnot Prize and would like to start by thanking those that nominated me and the Kleinman Center for Energy Policy for picking me out of what I believe were many equally deserving persons. When I first received news of the award, I thought it was either a spam message or a joke. When I realized it was true, my second immediate realization was that it was not really about me. It was, as has been said, a reflection of the broader energy of partners have supported and worked with us over all these years. At ENERGIA, we believe and are passionate that gender equality and women's empowerment are critical to development, to achieving each and every sustainable development goal, and that energy access is intrinsically linked to the well-being and empowerment of women, men, their families, and communities. ENERGIA is an international network that is hosted by HIBOS, the Humanist Institute for Development Cooperation, an international governmental organization based in the Netherlands. Our focus has been on delivering results and impact at the user and program levels, and on scaling up through building capacities of our partners and through policy advocacy. When ENERGIA was established in 1996 by a group of energy experts, we started with the basics of highlighting the burden that women face in providing for energy needs of their households, their communities, and their businesses. At the time, this was absent in energy policies and absent at international conferences and political commitments on development. Since then, we have grown into a globally acknowledged network that has over the years invested over 30 million euros to support the activities of over 50 organizations in 32 countries in Asia, Africa, Latin America, and the Pacific. As a direct result of our engagement in capacity building, over 40 medium to large-scale projects, energy ministries, electricity utilities, rural electrification agencies have endorsed gender action plans. 8 government agencies have endorsed gender-responsive national energy policies and sustainable energy for all action agendas. ENERGIA has also trained over 1,500 practitioners, half of whom were women. These practitioners continue to be influential, such as Faith Odonga and Pauline Budi from the Ministry of Energy from Kenya, and Louis Sek, ex-Minister of Renewable Energy from Senegal. One of our high-level achievements has been our successful efforts to ensure gender in the SDG 7 intergovernmental outcomes. But we have also reached communities and households. We have strengthened the growth and resilience of 6,500 women-led micro and small enterprises, who in turn have sold over 7,000 units of energy products, employed 10,000 people, and have extended improved energy access to 3.5 million households. As part of our knowledge creation and thought leadership, we have over 21 publications in peer-reviewed journals and contributed to a professorship specifically dedicated.
Hello. I was just told to say we know that Sheila's having some technical difficulties, and we'll just give her a minute to reconnect. Thanks.
Okay, I'm not sure where I stopped, actually. Okay, well, I just wanted to recognize the efforts and contributions of many others, including ENERGIA, who have made who have put gender on the sustainable energy for all and SDG 7 radar. In spite of these successes and in spite of the 25 years of advocating for changes and showing how it can be done, challenges remain and new ones emerge. Today, someone in Zambia or in India, a girl is still carrying more weight in firewood than she should be. Somewhere in Burkina Faso or Myanmar, a woman with a bright idea who knows her customer base well will be struggling to convince a bank, even a microfinance bank, to give her a loan to build a solar business. The bank will tell her that a business proposal is not quite right or that she has no assets to collateral for her loan. Somewhere in Tanzania or in Bangladesh, a girl will want to get on a roof and install a solar panel in her hometown or be a utility manager, but she will see no role models around her or get no mentoring or support. These are just some of the costs of the lack of gender equality in the energy sector. But it's not only women who lose out. We all do. We are unlikely to meet SDG 7 unless women are part of the energy transition, from access to being part of the supply chains and being part of decision-making. The sector fails to benefit from a diverse range of skills needed to solve the challenges of universal access to sustainable energy, and almost 2.9 billion people lose out and are deprived of the quality of life. Women who bear the brunt of this deprivation cannot continue to be excluded. Having said this, however, we at ENERGIA do not and have never seen women as victims. Despite many structural barriers, women have been transformative agents in pushing progress towards SDG 7. We need to lead this tireless effort with political commitments, clear gender targets and plans, mandatory requirements and enforcements, and dedicated funding for women's empowerment and gender equality across the energy sector. The threat that COVID-19 poses makes this even more urgent today than it did in 1996 when ENERGIA started. The pandemic has highlighted the importance of energy in upholding basic human rights, the ability to access clean water, quality education, meaningful healthcare, and even a child's right to play. And so ENERGIA's mission to increase women's and men's equal and equitable access to and control over sustainable energy services as a sustainable and essential right to development remains important till we... Ladies and gentlemen, let me end by thanking the many people whose shoulders I've stood on here. They supported me and guided me. Elizabeth Selsky, Joy Clancy, and Margaret Scoots, the founders of ENERGIA. My colleagues and friends, Soma Dutta, Lydia Machuri, Margaret Matinga, and Indira Shakya, leading gender and energy experts. All my past and present team members at the ENERGIA International Secretariat. My mentor, Dr. Govind Kelkar, who introduced me to gender and development. Frank van der Fulton, Hans Olof, Harish Hande, and Minoru Takada, who challenged me to make my arguments concrete and clear. I also want to recognize my birth country, Zambia. My father arrived as a Biafran refugee in Zambia, yet at no point was he or were we made to feel like refugees. We were simply citizens. And this was due to the leadership and vision of Dr. Kenneth Kaundas, whose political leadership was based on ensuring that the so-called underdogs are elevated and given the opportunities everyone deserves. It is this sort of leadership that saw me, a daughter of a refugee, attend and graduate at a public university, and so here I sit before you now. It is this sort of leadership that prioritizes equality and inclusivity that is needed in the energy sector. I would also like to acknowledge the strong leadership and investments in women's empowerment and gender equality from the Swedish International Development Cooperative Agency, the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, NORAD, and the Asian Development Bank that have been critical donors to ENERGIA. They believed us from the start in ENERGIA's visions and have championed feminist politics and the solutions to energy poverty. I'm happy to share that my mother, who is seated on my, I think your left side, my right side, has joined me here today. The love and support of my family in Zambia, in Kenya, and in the Netherlands, my husband Hank, my daughter Wanjiko, my sisters, nieces and nephews, and all my in-laws have been invaluable. Finally, I want to say that I hope in a few years, ENERGIA will not be needed. It will be history that we will look back on with pride that we together did. Thank you very much for the award.
Thank you, Sheila. Those are wonderful remarks. No, I think you're just getting comments from Blue Jeans, but you're still there. You and your lovely mother, both.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think we all now know why Sheila is such a deserving, wonderful recipient of this year's Carnot Prize. She's absolutely a marvel and a force of nature and resilient to any obstacles that come her way. And it's so lovely again to see your mother sitting next to you. You make a beautiful pair. Thank you for that. I just want to say we are absolutely overwhelmed in the chat right now on Blue Jeans for the outpouring of love and admiration and gratitude for your inspiration from around the world. This is actually the attendance of this Carnot Prize is the largest we've ever had, given our global audience and your global audience for this Blue Jeans event. So it's really quite wonderful. I just want to say a quick thank you for all the efforts to the amazing Kleinman team who've pulled off this pandemic Carnot event. It is a set of talented and generous people, all of whom deliver maximum effort for this event every year because of wonderful people like Sheila. We're 7 years old and we've had zero turnover in the team, and that's the only reason why I look as young and fresh as I do after those 7 years. Sheila, we have one last treat for you. In addition to many comments in the chat, we've also been receiving email and social media commentaries since the day we announced you. And we have a little surprise for you as our closing for the event. Thank you all.
Sorry, before you go, could I just say one last thing?
Yes.
I just want to also extend my gratitude for the Oparaocha Kleinman internship. We at ENERGIA believe that the youth are the pathway to the future, and this is really going to strengthen our engagement with young men and women that want to follow in this pathway. And we will endeavor to work very closely with you to be role models and leaders in the transition to energy and to SDG 7. Thank you.
Thank you. That's lovely. And let me just reciprocate by saying thank you on behalf of the years and generations of Penn students who will benefit from their time with you and ENERGIA.
Thank you.
I'm going to say thank you to all of you for attending. It's lovely to have you. Even better next year when we can all be together again. Thank you. The edited and version, just like there was never any interruption in today's event, will be available on the website tomorrow. And so please share this lovely tribute widely because you have lots of friends who would love to meet Sheila. Thank you all. Stay well.